Revival Fitness recently made a video calling out Geoffrey Verity Schofield. The premise of his video was that GVS was too weak for his size at the deadlift, and he basically alluded to the fact that because of that, something suspicious must be going on, if you catch what I'm trying to say. Revival Fitness might be right in his accusation, but his premise that strength and size are basically directly correlated is wrong, and I'm going to explain why in this video. Before I get started, I just want to clarify that I don't really care at all about the natty or not part of this argument. For all I know, they're probably both not natural, so all I care about really is debunking the claim. So from what I gather, having watched Revival Fitness for a few years on and off, is that he's very big on strength and size being correlated. So much so to the point where I really get the impression that he believes that they are perfectly correlated. And based off some of the things he said in his videos and in his comment sections, it seems that he believes that anybody who is bigger than him, yet lifts less than him, has to be doing something suspicious, aka probably not natty.
This guy's entire brand and persona and his fan base revolves around the idea that he's a world-class natty. And he talks about here how they're going to be very strong to have the muscles that they do. This is not impressive in that context. The only way to build a lot of muscle mass without linear strength gain proportional to that is to take PEDs. And this dude reminds people every day of his life how natural he is.
In my opinion, this way of thinking is filled with fallacies. I think the biggest reason why Revival Fitness's premise that strength and size are very closely or even perfectly correlated is wrong is because he seems to completely ignore the fact that strength is a skill. He seems to leave no room for consideration that training specificity and priorities make a significant difference in a person's strength output. There's a significant component of strength output that is both mental and neural. Really, it relates to your body's ability to recruit more muscle fibers and do so in a specific movement pattern. For example, even if you're pretty strong generally, if you start doing a movement that you've never done before or haven't done in a long time, you're going to be relatively pretty weak on it because, again, strength is something you've learned and that movement is something that you haven't practiced in a long time. What this means is that to a considerable extent, your strength output on a given exercise is detached from the size of your muscle. I have a real world example for this as well. I have a friend who's big on barbell benching. He really cares about moving as much weight in the barbell bench press as he can, really getting that 1 rep max up there. And on the other hand, there's me who, I've done barbell benching maybe 4 or 5 times in the last 3 or 4 years. I don't really do it ever, so to speak, right? And another caveat is, or more detail is, that this friend is also 10 pounds lighter than I am. So I'm actually bigger than this friend. But he can do a 1 rep max bench press that it can destroy mine. His 1 rep max bench press is 50 pounds more than mine is. Now, based on what Revival Fitness says in his videos, it really seems that Revival would look at this case and be like, oh, there must be something sus about me because I'm bigger than this friend, but my 1 rep max is so much weaker. Oh, I'm big but weak. There must be something suspicious going on. And sure, he can have that opinion, but let's just think of it logically, right? Why is there a discrepancy between me and my friend's bench press? It's because I do bench press once a year at most, and my friend is doing barbell benching all the time and really doing triples and 5 rep sets, low rep sets, trying to get his max up there. That is the reason why the training specificity and the priority in training is why he has a higher bench 1 rep max than I do, even at 10 pounds lower body weight. Now, you might be asking, how does all of this relate to the Revival Fitness versus GVS situation? Now, from what I've observed, Revival Fitness seems to care about the deadlift and the big three in general a lot more, compared to GVS, who really cares more about other compound exercises and a lot of isolation work. Revival Fitness also seems to place a lot higher of an emphasis on strength in general. He is really in tune with and cares about the numbers he is posting and the numbers he's able to lift and throw around. So essentially, Revival Fitness trains a lot more like a powerlifter, whereas GVS trains a lot more like a bodybuilder. So then, is it really any surprise that GVS is not going to be that strong at deadlifts? No, not really. It's just because GVS doesn't train deadlifts that seriously or that often. This alone can easily explain the disparity in size versus strength that Revival Fitness is trying to use as his smoking gun. I'm sure that if GVS started a deadlift specialization program for 2 or 3 months where he started doing it a lot more often and started doing 3 or 5 rep sets on the deadlift, his deadlift numbers would go up very fast and start approaching Revival Fitness's numbers. And most of the reason for the gains in numbers and strength would be more because of neural and mental adaptations rather than the fact that GVS would have just piled on a crap ton of muscle in 2 or 3 months. And something that's kind of funny is that Revival Fitness essentially debunks his own argument in the comment section of his video because he admits that GVS is stronger than him on arm exercises. When someone in his comment section says GVS mogs you, he replies with, then why am I stronger than him at everything except curls and tricep extensions? Well, as I've been saying in this video, the answer is training priorities, training specificity, and the fact that a large component of strength is skill. It's not just about the size of your muscle. Obviously, GVS is stronger on arms because he does a lot more arm work and really prioritizes it. And then on the other hand, obviously Revival is stronger on deadlifts because Revival places a great deal of emphasis on his deadlift and his deadlift numbers. He trains to have big deadlift numbers. So it all really just makes sense. That's why GVS is stronger than you on arm exercises, and that's why you're stronger than him on the big three. Revival's statement in his comment section implicitly agrees with what I've said so far. And a large part of his question is answered by his own admission. And in the end, it really makes his whole premise look pretty silly. It's kind of crazy that this needs to be said by me or anyone because it seems pretty obvious, and it also seems that Revival is a pretty smart guy. I think he is. I agree with a lot of the things he says in general, but this strength versus size argument is just one place where I really don't understand where he's coming from and why he is so dogmatic on this and just can't kind of see the obvious truth. So what's the takeaway for you from this video? Do I believe that strength and size are not correlated at all? No, obviously not. Size and strength are correlated. A bigger person will generally be stronger as well, or at the very least have more capacity for strength. Rather, my position is that size and strength are not perfectly correlated. It's not an absolute certainty that a bigger person has to be stronger, even away from the natty or not question. Again, simply because there are many other things that affect strength output, namely training specificity and priority, practice on any given movement, leverages, and probably genetics as well. So in the end, Revival may be right about his subtle accusation towards GVS, but his premise is completely wrong and frankly pretty foolish. If you found this video interesting or informative, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to start building your dream physique and learn from me how to do that, consider visiting the link in my description and join my free Skool community, which has a free Skool course in it. You can also connect with me directly and it's completely free. So there's no loss. It's a win-win for both myself and you. So I hope to see you there. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.